There's a liquid in your kitchen cabinet right now that kills weeds in under 24 hours. The United States Department of Agriculture proved it. In 2002, USDA scientists at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center tested vinegar on 5 major weed species and documented 85 to 100% kill rates at all growth stages. The results were visible within hours, not days, not weeks, hours. The active ingredient is acetic acid, the same molecule that has existed for over 5,000 years. A gallon costs less than $4 at any grocery store in America. Meanwhile, a gallon of Roundup concentrate costs roughly $40 on the same shelf. The company that sells Roundup, a German pharmaceutical giant called Bayer, paid $63 billion to acquire Monsanto in 2018. That is the most expensive all-cash corporate takeover in history. It was built on a single synthetic chemical that a $4 jug of kitchen vinegar can functionally replace for most residential weed control. A $4 solution validated by the USDA cannot generate a $40 price tag. And anything that cannot generate a $40 price tag has to disappear. This is the story of vinegar, the oldest weed killer in human history, and the $63 billion empire that needed you to forget it ever worked. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. For 10,000 years, humanity controlled weeds with 2 tools, a hoe and their hands. Roman agricultural writers Cato, Columella, and Pliny documented the use of amurca, a bitter residue from olive oil pressing mixed with salt and boiled in copper pots as a weed and pest deterrent. Ashes were spread on fields across every ancient Mediterranean civilization. Vinegar itself dates back over 5,000 years to ancient Babylon, where it was produced as a byproduct of wine and beer fermentation. But the chemical revolution changed everything. In 1896, French scientists developed Sinox, the first organic chemical herbicide. Then came World War II. Allied researchers working under military secrecy simultaneously discovered 2,4-D, a synthetic compound that could selectively kill broadleaf plants at just 1 to 2 kilograms per hectare. It was originally explored as a weapon to destroy enemy food crops. When the war ended in 1946, 2,4-D became the first commercially successful selective herbicide. Within 20 years, over 100 new chemical herbicides flooded the market. But none of them would come close to what a single Monsanto chemist stumbled onto in 1970. In May of 1970, a researcher named John E. Franz synthesized a compound called glyphosate as part of a routine screening program for phosphonic acid derivatives. Monsanto filed the patent. Franz was paid $5. That $5 patent became the most valuable herbicide molecule in history. Roundup launched commercially in 1974. But the real explosion came in 1996, when Monsanto released Roundup Ready soybeans, genetically modified crops engineered to survive glyphosate spraying. Farmers could blanket entire fields and kill every weed while the crop stood untouched. Glyphosate use increased 15-fold between 1996 and 2014. Peak Roundup sales hit $2.4 billion in a single year. The global herbicide market today exceeds $44 billion annually. Glyphosate alone accounts for roughly $5 to $9 billion of that. But stay with me, because what happened next is where the money starts to smell. In March of 2015, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which operates under the World Health Organization, classified glyphosate as Group 2A, probably carcinogenic to humans. They based the finding on evidence linking occupational exposure to non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Monsanto did not accept that verdict quietly. Court-ordered discovery and subsequent lawsuits released millions of pages of internal documents that became known as the Monsanto Papers. Those documents revealed that a key safety study published in 2000, authored by Williams, Cross, and Monroe, and cited 614 times by regulators worldwide, was ghostwritten by Monsanto employees. An internal email from a Monsanto executive proposed keeping costs down by having the company do the writing, while outside scientists would just edit and sign their names. That paper shaped global regulatory decisions for a quarter century. It was retracted in December of 2025, 25 years after publication. In August of 2018, a 42-year-old school groundskeeper named Dwayne Johnson, who had sprayed Roundup 20 to 30 times a year, was awarded $289 million after developing non-Hodgkin lymphoma. A married couple named Alva and Alberta Pilliod, who both developed lymphoma after 30 years of Roundup use, won $2 billion in damages. Approximately 192,000 lawsuits have been filed against Bayer. The company has paid roughly $11 billion in settlements, with an additional $7.25 billion proposed in 2026. Bayer's market value has collapsed from over 120 billion euros before the Monsanto acquisition to roughly 25 to 44 billion euros today. The Wall Street Journal called it one of the worst corporate deals in modern memory. Now here is the part where the story turns from enraging to empowering. Here is exactly what to do. For driveways, sidewalk cracks, gravel paths, patio joints, and any area where you want to kill weeds and do not care about surrounding plants, buy a gallon of 20% horticultural vinegar. Brands like Green Gobbler and Harris sell it at any hardware store for roughly $20 to $25 a gallon. Pour it into a standard pump sprayer. Choose a sunny afternoon above 75 degrees with no rain forecast for 24 hours. Spray directly onto weed foliage until every leaf is visibly wet. Within 2 hours you will see wilting. Within 24 hours the weeds will be brown and dead. For annual weeds like chickweed, lamb squirters, pigweed, and young crabgrass, a single application often kills permanently. For perennial weeds with deep roots like dandelions or Canada thistle, expect to reapply every 2 to 3 weeks for a full season. 3 to 5 applications per year will maintain clean surfaces comparable to a single glyphosate treatment. Now, I need to be honest about the limitations, because this channel does not cut corners on truth. Vinegar is a contact herbicide. It destroys every leaf it touches, but it does not travel to the roots. Glyphosate is systemic. It absorbs through the leaf, moves through the vascular system, and kills the entire plant, including the root network. That is why glyphosate needs one application, while vinegar needs several. Concentrated vinegar at 20% is also genuinely dangerous. It is classified by the EPA as Category 1 for skin corrosion and serious eye damage, and it can cause chemical burns and permanent blindness on contact. Wear chemical-resistant gloves, eye protection, and long sleeves. Do not add salt to your vinegar mixture despite what the internet tells you. Salt does not break down in soil. It accumulates with every application and can permanently sterilize the ground so that nothing grows there for years. Acetic acid, on the other hand, breaks down into water and carbon dioxide within days and leaves zero residue. And here is the final irony that the $63 billion empire does not want you to notice. Bayer, the company that spent $120 million lobbying to defend glyphosate, now sells vinegar-based Roundup in Canada and across European markets where glyphosate faces restrictions. The active ingredient listed on the Canadian label is acetic acid. The same molecule sits in your kitchen cabinet right now for $4. $44 billion in annual herbicide revenue depends on you never making that connection. $11 billion in cancer settlement costs depends on you never asking why the alternative was always the simple. 614 citations of a ghost-written study depended on you never reading the USDA research published 3 years earlier. But acetic acid does not need a lobbyist, vinegar does not need a ghostwriter, and a $4 bottle has never given anyone lymphoma. If this video changed how you think about the spray bottles under your kitchen sink, the $40 products in your garage, or the weeds growing through your driveway right now, then subscribe and share this video now. Every share puts a crack in the wall they spent $63 billion building around knowledge that was always yours. The next video drops soon, and what is inside is the one powder every exterminator prays you never discover.